Every single one of us is given the same 24 hours, but why is it that some rise with unstoppable clarity while others drown in distraction? The answer is not time, it is focus. Focus is the bridge between dreams and reality. Without it, potential dissolves into noise. With it, mountains move. You cannot buy focus. You cannot borrow it. You must build it like a blade, sharpened through discipline, patience, and daily practice. So for the next 7 days, I challenge you to build your laser focus. Not someday, not when life slows down. Now, day 1. Awareness. Before you can focus, you must see where your attention leaks. Observe yourself. How often do you pick up your phone? How often do you drift away in thought? Awareness is the first cut of the blade. You cannot change what you do not notice. Day 2. Clarity. Ask yourself, what truly matters? Write it down. One goal, one direction. Clarity creates strength. When the mind knows its purpose, distractions lose their power. Day 3. Environment. Your surroundings either serve your mission or sabotage it. Remove what weakens you. Silence what steals your focus. Make your space a reflection of your intention. Simple, clean, and ready for deep work. Day 4. Discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. Set a time, sit down, and commit. Even when motivation fades, discipline carries you forward. When you do what must be done, especially when you don't feel like it, you train your mind to obey your higher purpose, not your momentary mood. Day 5. Presence. Focus is not about the future or the past. It is about now. Whatever you do, do it completely. When you walk, just walk. When you read, just read. The mind that is fully present becomes unstoppable. Day 6. Energy. Your focus depends on your energy. Sleep deeply, eat clean, move daily, breathe with awareness. When your body is strong, your mind becomes steady. Energy fuels clarity. Where did you grow? Where did you slip? True mastery is built on reflection and adjustment. Every day is a new chance to refine your blade. Closing. Focus is not a talent, it is a decision. When you choose to guard your attention, you reclaim your life. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait for tomorrow. Begin today. For 7 days, give your focus everything, and you will feel the shift, the quiet strength of a mind that no longer scatters, but strikes. Be still, be clear, be relentless. Your focus is your power. Build it, sharpen it, and let it cut through every excuse that stands in your way. Before you can ever begin to build focus, you must understand where your attention goes and how easily it slips away. Most people live their days unaware of how fragmented their minds have become. They wake up, glance at their phones, scroll through endless feeds, answer messages before they even open their eyes fully, and by the time the day begins, their attention has already been divided into 1,000 pieces. Awareness is the first step toward reclaiming that lost power. To build laser focus, you must learn to observe your own patterns without judgment, like a calm witness watching the waves rise and fall on the surface of the ocean. When you become aware, you begin to see how your mind behaves when it's not guided. You notice the constant need to switch tasks, the restlessness that pushes you to check notifications, the little impulses that tell you to avoid discomfort and chase instant stimulation. These impulses are not who you are. They are habits built over years of untrained attention. Once you see them, you begin to understand that your focus has been stolen not by the world, but by your own unconscious behavior. For the first day, make it your task to watch yourself. Carry a small notebook or use your phone to record each time your attention drifts. Don't scold yourself. Don't fight it. Just notice. Write down what triggered it, what emotion you felt, and what you turned toward instead. This exercise will seem simple, but it is powerful. It teaches your mind, people, that awareness is your responsibility. Every moment you catch yourself wandering, you build a tiny piece of control. In these observations, patterns will emerge. You might find that distraction often comes from boredom or fear of missing out or the discomfort of silence. Awareness reveals not just where your attention goes, but why it escapes. This understanding is the foundation of mastery. If you do not see the root of distraction, you will forever battle its branches. As the day progresses, slow down your movements. When you eat, taste each bite instead of scrolling. When you speak, truly listen to your own words. When you walk, feel the ground beneath your feet. This slowing down is not laziness, it is training. It retrains the nervous system to stay present, to anchor itself in one task, one breath, one moment. You will notice resistance. The mind will tell you that it is boring or unproductive, but each time you resist that impulse and remain still, you strengthen your awareness. The more you practice, the more subtle your perception becomes. You start noticing the tiny moments before your focus slips, the instant before you open a new tab or reach for your phone. In that instant, you have the power to choose. That choice is where focus begins. Awareness is not about eliminating distraction immediately, it is about recognizing it so deeply that it loses its hold on you. Through awareness, you transform from a person who reacts to a person who decides. Before focus can be built, it must first be understood, and understanding begins with awareness. Awareness is the act of shining light into the hidden corners of your own mind, observing where your attention drifts and recognizing how easily it becomes scattered. Most people spend their lives in a state of unconscious reaction. They wake up and are instantly pulled into motion, checking messages, responding to notifications, thinking about the day ahead before even taking a single calm breath. Their attention is not chosen, it is stolen. Awareness means pausing long enough to notice this theft. It means realizing that your attention is the most valuable resource you possess, and yet without awareness it leaks away from you 1,000 times a day. On the first day of your journey toward laser focus, your only task is to observe, not to change, not to control, but simply to see. Observe your mind the way a still lake reflects the sky calmly, without judgment. When you sit down to work, notice how long it takes before a distraction appears. When you read, observe the exact moment your thoughts wander elsewhere. Awareness is the foundation upon which all focus is built, because you cannot strengthen what you do not first understand. The human mind naturally seeks stimulation. It jumps from one idea to another, from one image to the next. In modern life, this habit is amplified by endless choices, constant noise, and the illusion of connection through screens. Awareness pulls you out of this automatic loop. It gives you the distance to recognize when your attention has been hijacked. Each time you notice yourself drifting and gently bring your mind back to the present, you are training the muscle of awareness. It is not about perfection. It is about noticing again and again until that noticing becomes second nature. You can practice awareness anywhere, while walking, eating, or even during conversation. When you walk, feel each step instead of letting your mind race ahead. When you eat, truly taste the food instead of scrolling through your phone. When you speak, listen not only to your words but to the silence between them. These simple acts of mindfulness are powerful because they reconnect you with the present moment, and focus can only exist in the present. Throughout this process, write down your distractions. Keep a small record of what pulls your attention away. Is it noise, boredom, a desire for comfort, or fear of stillness? Awareness will show you that distraction often has an emotional root. Once you identify it, you begin to see the pattern behind your habits. Maybe you check your phone when you feel uncertain, or open new tabs when work becomes difficult. Each discovery brings you closer to control. The more you observe, the more clearly you see that awareness is not passive, it is active presence. It is the difference between being lost in thought and watching thought pass by. It is the space between impulse and decision, between reaction and intention. Your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your focus. It influences your behavior more than you realize, constantly sending subtle signals that either pull your attention toward purpose or scatter it into distraction. When the space around you is cluttered, noisy, or filled with constant reminders of unfinished tasks, your mind reflects that chaos. But when your surroundings are orderly, intentional, and designed to support your priorities, focus becomes natural. The first step to mastering your environment is to become aware of the energy it carries. Every object, every sound, every digital device in your space has an impact on the quality of your attention. Look around the place where you spend most of your time working or thinking. Notice the unnecessary items lying around, the papers, the open tabs, the notifications, the random messages that flash across your screen. Each one of these things demands a small fraction of your attention. Individually, they seem harmless. Together, they drain your mental energy before you even begin. When your environment is full of distractions, your mind cannot fully relax into a state of deep focus. Instead, it becomes hyper-alert, always scanning for what might happen next. To build laser focus, you must create an environment that tells your mind exactly what it is there to do. Begin by simplifying. Remove what does not serve your purpose. If you are trying to study, create a space dedicated to that task alone. If you are training, let your practice area be clean, clear, and free from clutter. The less visual noise around you, the less mental resistance you will feel. The human brain is drawn to order. It finds peace in simplicity. A minimalist environment is not just an aesthetic choice, it is a psychological tool for clarity. Your digital environment must also be treated with the same discipline. Most distractions today do not come from the physical world but from screens that demand constant attention. Disable unnecessary notifications, organize your files, close irrelevant tabs, and separate spaces for work and leisure. Every time you open your device, ask yourself if what you see supports your focus or steals it. The goal is to make your environment a silent partner in your discipline, one that constantly reminds you of your direction without speaking a word. Lighting, sound, and even scent influence the way your mind performs. Natural light promotes alertness, while dim, warm lighting encourages calm reflection. Soft instrumental music or silence can help sustain focus depending on your temperament. Some people light incense or use a specific scent when working, not as decoration, but as a signal to the brain that it is time to enter a state of deep attention. Over time, your environment becomes a cue that prepares your mind for performance, just as an athlete feels a surge of readiness when stepping into the arena. When you intentionally design your surroundings, you stop fighting against your environment and start working with it. You turn your space into a mirror of your purpose, a quiet force that supports discipline without effort. When you shift from relying on bursts of motivation and instead lean into discipline as your guiding force, you change the game. Discipline isn't about waiting until you feel like doing something, it's about doing what must be done even when the comfort of doing nothing is louder. This kind of steady resolve becomes the backbone of focus. Every time you sit at your task and commit despite fatigue, distraction, or doubt, you're training the neural pathways of your mind to respond in one predictable way: show up. According to experts, self-control behaves like a muscle. Use it and it grows stronger. Wikipedia +2 disciplinebuilder.com +2. Start by creating rituals, not grand ceremonies, but simple commitments that signal the start of focus. Choose a fixed time, a fixed place, a fixed method so your mind stops negotiating and simply acts. As one guide on self-discipline put it, make your bed, stretch, review your goals. Those 3 minutes in the morning become a ripple that carries through the day. smartmanhabits.com. When the ritual is strong, your default becomes action, not procrastination. Next, don't aim for perfection, aim for consistency. Many believe you must be 100% disciplined 24/7. In truth, discipline is built in the small decisions, the repeated choices that say I will rather than I might. Research shows that individuals who build effective systems and routines, not spectacular one-off efforts, are the ones who get good at discipline. Disciplinebuilder.com +1. That means you might miss a day or falter, but the discipline lies in the return, not the stumble. One powerful method: commit to the task for a small fixed interval, say 5 minutes. Once the initial friction is past, the brain often continues. This technique is supported by recent habit building advice which emphasizes that the hardest part is starting. Discipline.com +1. So set the timer, begin with minimal demand, let momentum build. Another cornerstone: know your why. Discipline becomes meaningful when it's tied to purpose. Without a reason beyond I should, the mind balks. When you remember that the effort is for a future version of you, it becomes easier to persist in the moment. smartmanhabits.com +1. Because when the reward feels distant and motivation low, purpose without a reason beyond I should, the mind balks. When you remember that the effort is for a future version of you, it becomes easier to persist in the moment. smartmanhabits.com +1. Because when the reward feels distant and motivation low, purpose becomes the tether that holds your focus steady. And around all this, build guardrails, create structures that reduce temptation. Say you'll work for 45 minutes, then rest for 10. Switch your phone to silent, block distracting apps. When your environment is structured for discipline rather than undermining it, the path to focus becomes smoother. ThinkBetterAcademy.com +2 Aspire Atlas +2. Through these steps, consistent rituals, small starts, clear purpose, and supportive structures, you are not waiting for inspiration. You are becoming the kind of person who doesn't wait. You shift from the mindset of if I feel like it to I do it anyway. In that shift, your mind finds its sharpened edge, your attention its liver, and ChatGPT said, when you fully embrace presence, you begin to anchor your mind in the reality of the current moment, refusing to let yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's anxieties hijack your attention. Being present means that whatever you are doing, walking, speaking, writing, thinking, you give it your full self. You don't multitask. You don't mentally wander. You focus. Research shows that people who develop present-centered awareness display better attention and less emotional exhaustion. In practice, this means that when you do a task, you inhabit it fully. You feel the weight of the pen on the paper, the texture of the keys beneath your fingers, the rhythm of your breath. You hear the tone of your voice when you speak. You see the shades of color in what you're reading. Because presence draws your mind away from the constant chatter and dispersal of attention, it turns what was passive into active engagement. This shift is quieter than dramatic, but far more powerful. It required
You to notice the moment before you slip away. You feel the urge to click away, the flicker of distraction, the impulse to shift to something else, and instead you stay. You see it, you acknowledge it, you return. With each return, you strengthen the muscle of presence. The scientific literature supports this. Mindful attention builds cognitive flexibility, reducing the tendency to wander into automatic mental loops. IJFMR plus one. When your presence becomes habitual, you no longer feel pulled by every
ping and every thought, but instead you remain anchored to your chosen focus. Presence gives you a vantage point. Instead of being driven by stimuli, you observe them and you choose your response. You don't just react, you see the trigger and you act with intention. In that space, distractions lose their grip. The outside noise continues, but you are not the noise's victim. In your presence, you create a clear field of attention. They might shout, but you do not flinch. You let the sound exist while you continue your work. You learn to act from the center of your own calm rather than from the turbulence of external pressures. Moreover, presence transforms the quality of your experience. When you are fully here, you notice details you'd previously missed, the way light falls across the page, the subtle changes in your breathing, the way your body feels when settled and still. This sensory aliveness feeds focus. It becomes harder for the mind to drift when your senses are alive and engaged. You cultivate a body-mind connection that supports sustained attention. And as studies show, this kind of focused presence isn't just about avoiding burnout. It also enhances performance, clarity of thought, and the capacity to stay immersed challenging tasks. Well-being peninsula plus one. In effect, you become the master of your attention rather than its slave. To practice this, pick a simple action, perhaps drinking water, walking to your desk, or opening a notebook, and slow it down. Notice the movement, the sound, the sensation. When your mind drifts, gently return it. Do this not as a chore, but as an experiment in presence. Over time, you'll notice the difference. Tasks that once drained you start energizing you. Time that once scattered now feels cohesive. Your attention deepens, pauses become easier, and distraction loses its sharpness. When attention and purpose are clear, the next pillar that carries your focus forward is energy, the vitality in your body and mind that allows your focus to resonate deeply and sustain naturally. Without energy, even the sharpest intention will struggle to maintain its edge. Awareness, clarity, environment, and discipline may all be present, yet they require your physical mental system to be primed. When your energy falters, your focus becomes brittle. Energy begins with the body's foundation. Sleep is the silent seedbed of focus. When you don't allow your brain to restore during the night, when rest is shallow, ground-vented, or too short, your nervous system is under-equipped for sustained attention the next day. The brain's capacity to inhibit distractions, to hold one idea steadily, to maintain vigilance, all of these depend on the restoration that sleep provides. Therefore, you must guard the hours before dawn as fiercely as you guard your waking work. Nutrition matters immensely. The brain demands fuel, not just any fuel, but steady, clean, reliable fuel. Rapid spikes and crashes in glucose sap the nervous system's ability to keep attention anchored. One article observes that sugary foods may offer a quick burst, but then leave you depleted, undermining focus. Will-powered, when you eat with intention, whole foods, moderate carbohydrates, good protein, hydrating fluids, you support the brain's ability to hold a state of deep engagement. Think of your body as the platform on which your mind stands. If the platform is shaky, the mind cannot stand still. Movement and breath amplify your energy levels. Physical activity, whether brisk walking, stretching, or a short workout, activates circulation, clears metabolic waste, pumps fresh oxygen into your tissues, and signals to every cell in you that you are alive and present. Breath too is an anchor to energy. The rhythm of your breath influences your nervous system's tone, shifting between calm alertness and reactive stress. When you breathe slowly and fully, you mark a signal to the body that you are prepared for presence rather than survival. Energy also flows in cycles. You cannot expect sustained high intensity without recognition of natural ebb and flow. The science of attention shows that mental effort wanes if not managed, and rest isn't optional, it is integral. For example, micro breaks of just a few minutes of rest or shifting your attention can increase feelings of vigor and reduce fatigue. Time. When you become attuned to your energy rhythms, you no longer force focus through fatigue, but Rather, align your high energy moments with your most important tasks, and you give your body and brain what they need to recharge. Tune into your own energy patterns. When are you most alive? When does your clarity begin to fade? A user on a productivity forum described tracking energy levels 1 week and discovered his brain had only about 4 hours of deep work energy per day. Trying to stretch beyond that didn't produce better results, it only produced weaker ones. Reddit. That kind of self-knowledge becomes a powerful ally for focus. Your energy is also shaped by your internal state. Emotions, thoughts, stress all either drain or strengthen the system. Chronic stress diminishes your capacity to sustain attention because your mind remains in survival mode. Each time you feed your body with calm, deliberate habits, movement, breath, rest, you rebuild your energy reserve and create the conditions where focus can thrive rather than fight. When energy is aligned with